ॐ शिवशक्तिसमारम्भां भास्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मत्श्रीनाथपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ज्ञानिनामपि चेतांसि देवी भगवती हि सा बलाधाकृष्य मोहाय महामाया प्रयच्छति दुर्गे स्मृता हरसि भीतिमशेषजन्तोः स्वस्ति स्मृता मतिमतीव शुभां ददासि दारिद्र्यदुःखभयहारिणि का त्वदन्या सर्वोपकारकरणाय सदार्द्रचित्ता सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरि नारायणि नमोऽस्तु ते शरणागतदीनार्तपरित्राणपरायणे सर्वस्यार्तिहरे देवि नारायणि नमोऽस्तु ते सर्वस्वरूपे सर्वेशे सर्वशक्तिसमन्विते भयेभ्यस्त्राहि नो देवि दुर्गे देवि नमोऽस्तु ते रोगानशेषानपहंसि तुष्टारुष्टातु कामान् सकलान् भीष्टान् त्वामाश्रितानां न विपन्नराणां त्वामाश्रिताः ह्याश्रयतां प्रयान्ति सर्वबाधा प्रशमनं त्रैलोक्यस्याखिलेश्वरि एवमेव त्वया कार्यमस्मद्वैरिविनाशनम् ॐ
Rajesh, the first slogan, you said Asmat, something by this printout says Acharya Paryanta.
Okay. All right, the English. Okay, all right. We'll just fix it. It's the same thing. We'll just change it to Asma Srinatha. I'll update and send it to you.
Srinatha, okay.
Yeah. Okay, welcome
I
everyone.
think that's because of there's a particular guru from a site that we are printing, right? I thought there was a guru's name on that website.
No, I think that is different. All the talking about the lineage of the guru, that's a different prayer which comes there. But anyway, I'll fix the Dhyana Slokam to say Srinatha in the text that I sent you in English. Okay. All right. Welcome everyone. Happy Thursday. So like I was just telling, we normally start on time. I started like a few minutes late today because it's the first class, but we'll normally get started sharp at 7. So most of you probably know each other. I thought we'll just go through a quick round of intro. So just very quick 30 seconds, name, where are you from, and any connection to Devi Mahatmyam or anything you want to share. So I'll just go from the top left of my screen. Vidya, you're first.
Namaste everyone. My name is Vidya. I started learning Narayaniam with Rajesh ji, and then he started Devi Mahatmyam, and then we joined, me and my friend Dronalini. So nice learning from you and nice meeting you all. Namaste.
Riti ji.
My name is Rati Pukot. I'm from Buffalo Grove. A few of us from this class, we recently finished Narayani from Rajesh. So I'm looking forward to learning Devi Mahatmyam.
Thanks, Riti ji. Lakshmi.
Namaste, Lakshmi. I am from Texas, Houston. This is my first class with Rajesh ji, with the Devi Mahatmyam. Yeah.
Thanks, Lakshmi. Vikram, Soumya.
Namaskaram. This is Soumya and Vikram. We were blessed to be Rajesh Ji's students for Narayaniyam class. We were in fact coincidentally batch 5 with Narayaniyam as well. And with God's providence and blessings, we are here on batch 5 for Devi Mahatmyam. So really glad to be able to get back into the satsang with Rajesh Ji and the team. Thank you.
And Soumya and Vikram are in Dallas right now. Yes.
We just moved to Dallas from Chicago.
Go to the dark side. Harish.
Namaste. Are you able to hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Harish Venkateswaran, live in Buffalo Grove, so local. Know some of you all here, especially Rajesh Ji and Vishali Ji and all of that, and have been part of some of the events at the temple. Know some students that have gone to Rajesh Ji, but this is my personal first time here. So this is my first batch and first time. I'm very excited. Devi has brought me here together with you to learn Devi Mahatmyam.
Thanks, Harish. Anita.
Hi, I'm Anita. I'm batchmate for Reti ji, Mrutala ji, and Vijay, and we did Narayaniyam together. That brought us here for Devi Mahatmyam too. I should say thanks to Soumya and a few other people from DG. They introduced me to Rajesh ji for Narayaniam, and the journey goes on in learning and growing a better person, I guess. Thank you.
Mrinalini?
Hari Om, I'm Ranalini here. Myself and Vidya, we have been learning Narayaniam from Rajesh ji, and then I was interested in Devi Mahatmyam, and fortunately he said, yeah, he can teach, so I'm here. And I think I should thank Sabita ji for introducing Rajesh ji in Narayaniam chanting. So,
Thanks. Mrinalini is also Buffalo Grove, by the way. So,
yeah.
Sadhana?
Good evening. I'm Sadhna. I live in Dallas. I'm a relative of Soumya and Vikram, and it's because of Soumya and Vikram I'm here. My first class for Devi Mahatmyam to learn it from Rajesh ji. This is my first class with Rajesh ji as well.
Welcome, Sadhana. Viji? Viji, you're on mute, yeah.
Namaskaram, everyone. So I live in Buffalo Grove. My name is Vijay Lakshmi. I learned Narayaniam from Rajesh ji. Thanks to Rajesh ji for teaching us. I don't know, I know few people here. So I'm actually looking forward to learn Devi Mahatmyam.
Thanks, Viji. Mridula ji?
Namaskar. My name is Mridula Menon, and I live in Grace Lake, Illinois. So I'm local as well. I took the very, very interesting and great session of Narayaniam, thanks to Rajesh, and it was a learning experience, and learning to pronounce all the words and recite it was a big achievement for me. It was always in my bucket list. So, and now I'm getting the Devi Mahatmyam opportunity. Thank you so much, Rajesh. God bless you for giving us this opportunity.
Thanks, Mridula ji. Isha?
Namaskaram, everyone. This is my name is Isha, and I'm from Naperville. This is my first session with Rajesh, and thanks to Mrinalini, she got introduced me to Rajesh. And learning Devi Mahatmyam has been in my list, but I never attempted. So I think this is my opportunity to start something.
Thanks. I have one more person who is joining me from my room here.
Hi, my name is Shreya, and I'm 14 years old, and I'm excited to start learning Devi Mahatmyam.
Yeah, I roped her in. I roped my son in when he was a freshman in high school. He completed Narayaniam, and then I thought for her, I'll start her with Devi Mahatmyam, and she's agreed. So that was another incentive for me to pick Thursday, because that's when she was available as well. So thanks for accommodating. All right. I don't think I missed anybody. If I missed anyone, please. I think I covered everyone. Yeah. Okay. All right. So what I thought today, right? We won't cover too much of the actual chanting today, but I want to give a background. I normally give a quick background of what we're going to study, so you understand what it is and some relevant things. We'll keep it very interactive, because we're all from the corporate world. I have a presentation ready, so I'm going to just share my slides, and then if you have any questions, just ask me, right? So let me go here. Okay, hopefully you can see my screen. I use Teams at work, so Zoom, I'm not too familiar with sharing. All right, hopefully you're able to see the screen. Okay, so just the name, right? I was chatting with somebody, and this has multiple names, right? So it is called Devi Mahatmyam, it's called Durga Saptashati, it's called Chandi Part. It all refers to the same thing, right? Mahatmyam means greatness of something. Now, Devi Mahatmyam means greatness of Devi, right? Very literally put, that is the glory of the goddess. We'll see who the Devi is a little bit later, but it talks about glory of the goddess. And then Durga Saptashati. Saptashati means 700. So it says a collection of 700 verses. That's also called Devi Chandi. That's called Durga Saptashati. It refers to the exact same thing. Chandi Part is a North Indian name that comes along with it, which is towards Chandika, who is the goddess who we are going to worship in this. So that is any part, a prayer that is dedicated towards Chandika. So these are all the different names by which it is known, right? And it's got 700 stanzas, which are actually there. Now, where this comes from is this is not a standalone text. It is actually part of one of the Puranas called as Markandeya Purana. So Rishi Markandeya, he compiled a big Purana called as Markandeya Purana. And in that, this one actually comes, right? It comes as, it's about 13 chapters from chapters 81 to 93 of Markandeya Purana. This Devi Mahatmyam is part of the Markandeya Purana. Now, the exact origins of this is millions of, hundreds and thousands of years old, at least. I'll tell you the exact number a little later when we come to chapter 1. Because for those who did Narayanam, the Manu, this was written during the second Manu. So it was written so back, right, during the second Manu. That was where the conversation is going to be happening. So it is really old. Of course, the compilation of this in a text form and all of that happened, some texts say 500 BC or whatever, but doesn't matter. It happened several thousands of years back. And all the stories that are going to come in it are also significantly, it's happened long time back as well. And this, while it says this has got 13 chapters, the chapters are divided into 3 categories. The first chapter is dedicated to Mahakali, and the chapters 2 and 4 towards Mahalakshmi, and chapters 5 and 13 towards Mahasaraswati. So those are the 3 goddesses who are formed this part of this Chandika, who we are going to worship as part of this Devi Mahatmyam, right? So okay. So now, anything, we always want to know, has somebody given commentary on it? And Devi Mahatmyam, there are tons of commentary available if you want to go research the meanings, the subtle meanings of it. The most important one is this person called as Bhaskara Raya. So for those of you, this is a good place for me to introduce this Bhaskara Prakasha Ashramam. We call it BPA, right? So I learned from somebody, you are learning from me, and this whole group satsang we are part of this community called as Bhaskara Prakasha Ashramam, which Bhaskara Raya formed in 1785. And we are all kind of in that lineage because we are learning from somebody who has learned from somebody who has learned from somebody who is leading up to Bhaskara Raya, right? So eventually you will all get a Diksha, which is telling you that, and you can get the Diksha later, so no worries about it. So once you learn it, you'll get a Diksha from Raghu Anna, who is kind of the primary person right now. He is right now in Chennai, but he's in the US traveling as well. And so by doing that, you kind of become part of this community. All it tells is if your mother or father or somebody else chants Devi Mahatmyam, and if they're not part of Bhaskara BPA, Bhaskara Prakasha Ashram, there will be subtle differences in the way of we chant, in the way we do homam. Some of the padatis are slightly different, that's all. In net, the 700 stanzas don't change, right? No matter who you learn from. So that remains consistent. And anyway, the more important thing I want to say here is, what Bhaskara Raya has said in this is that this is like, for those of you who know Vedam, right? Vedam it's called Shruti, means something which was heard. It was never written, right? It is all heard. Now, Narayaniam, for those who are learned, it was written or composed by Bhattadripa, right? So here, similarly, Devi Mahatmyam, one of the big differentiation is it is considered as auspicious as a Veda mantra, right? Which means that the words were seen, not necessarily written by somebody. It was seen by someone and then they literally wrote it. So which kind of gives it very powerful vibrations, very similar to the Vedic mantras as well. And, so the reason it is important is, while when you do homams, right, we do Rudra Homam, all of you are familiar with the Rudra Homam that happens. There's also Chandi Homam. So the Chandi Homam, we literally chant Devi Mahatmyam as part of Chandi Homam. So the text that we are going to learn is so important that this is it is like a Vedic mantra. It is not the Vedas, but it is like the Vedic mantra that you can actually perform homam against it, right? So that is how important it is. And the other important aspect of it is because of which this is not a mantram, right? A mantram means manase thayati, what you say in your mind. A Gayatri mantra is something you say in your mind. You don't say it out loud. But Devi Mahatmyam, like the Vedas, you are supposed to chant it out loud. It doesn't have the variations like the Vedic mantras do, but the aksharams and the pronunciations are extremely important because literally these generate sound vibrations which are very important. So that's why the Devi Mahatmyam, the important aspect is you are supposed to chant it out loud. because it generates those sound vibrations, and that is a very important differentiation of this compared to, even Vishnu Sahasranamam or Lalita Sahasranamam. Of course, good to chant it out loud, but it's okay if you just meditate on it. But Devi Mahatmyam is supposed to be said out loud, like the Vedic mantras, right? Okay, so now let's come to the main question of, we use the word Devi very loosely here, right? No, this is Durga Saptashati, right? That's another word it is getting used. So we will see who this Devi is as we kind of go into Devi Mahatmyam in detail. But this Devi, for those who are just think, this is like the Brahman, right? Like we talk about Brahman. Similarly, the male and the female at a Brahman level does not exist because it is genderless. It does not have any shape. It does not have any form. So we kind of refer to it as, people call it as Adi Shakti, the original Shakti, right? The original energy form, the original material energy form. So all of that is the original Devi. Now, very similar to how when you see Narayaniam, Bhagavatam, etc., there are incarnations that happen where you say Rama, Krishna, Parashurama, all of these incarnations. Similarly, this Adi Shakti also incarnates as different Devis for different purposes. So when she incarnates to get rid of Mahishasura, so she's called Mahishasura Mardini. When she incarnates to get rid of Chanda and Munda, she's going to be called as Chamunda, right? So similarly, there are different incarnations of the Devi which we are going to see. But the Devi, when we just say, it refers to the Adi Shakti. It does not refer to Durga specifically. It does not refer to Lakshmi. It is kind of an amalgamation of all of those goddesses put together, right? The original Devi, the original source Devi is what it is. And like Lord Shiva, Shiva has a name Rudra because where he's supposed to be very powerful and the anger form. But Shiva is also Dakshinamurti. Shiva is also like, a very peaceful person, right? Similarly, this Devi also takes two forms. In one of the form, she's going to be, very aggressive form to get rid of evil and the demons, which we are going to see. At the same time, she's also the universal mother, right? So in chapter 5, we'll say, Yadevi Sarva Bhuteshu Matru Rupena Samstita, the one who is existing as the universal mother. So universal mother cannot be somebody who's angry or somebody who's fighting and somebody who's getting rid of things, right? She's very compassionate and she's there only to bless, only to do good. So similarly, this Devi also takes two different forms depending on the purpose and depending on the situation, right? And we'll see that as we kind of go through this. Now, a lot of these texts have a lot of esoteric, hidden meanings, right? That it's a lot of us cannot grasp. But what we are going to do is we are only going to see it at a surface level because I'm not qualified either. And there are very few people like Bhaskara Raya who have understood the subtle meaning of Devi Mahatmyam. But we will just kind of touch it at a surface. But the context of how it goes is there are three people who are going to come in this. Now, into the first one who comes is actually, let me just, the context. Yes, you do. So the first person who's going to come is a king called as Surata. Now, Su means good in Sanskrit. Rata means a chariot. So Surata means somebody who actually has got a good chariot. So what does that mean, right? It does good chariot. The meaning here is if you consider your body, you means the soul, the self here. Your body is the chariot for you because you are riding that body as a chariot to go through this world. So Surata is somebody who has got a good body, which is referring to a king because it's going to be a king whose name is Surata. So this king, if anybody who is a king, is very powerful, very strong. He's of course got very strong body features, right? Then there's a second person who's a Vaishya, a merchant who's going to come in this. His name is Samadhi. Samadhi means, we think of Samadhi means like I'm in a state of Samadhi. I don't have any other nothing, right? I don't have no connection to this world. But Samadhi literally means you are focused on something. The original Samadhi we refer to is where you're focused on Brahman and you don't have context of anything else. But this Samadhi in this case is focused on riches, focused on making money because he's a Vaishya. So this is so single focus in life is to make money. So this king who's a Surata and this Vaishya who's a Samadhi, they both are going to have problems. That's how Devi Mahatmyam chapter 1 is going to start. So I won't get into the story of it now because we're going to go through it when we come to chapter 1. They all have problems which are going to be very relatable to every single problem that we have, right? And they all approach this sage who is called as Sumedhas. Medhas means intellect. So the one who has got a very good intellect. So they approach a guru called as Sumedhas, and this Sumedhas is going to show them the way of how both the king and the Vaishya can actually get out of their sufferings. And one of the biggest sufferings they are going to have is to say, I'm not able to let go of my past. That is going to be one of the common theme of the sufferings that they're going to have. So this Sumedhas is going to show them the way by talking about these incarnations of this Devi and how by listening to this Devi Mahatmyam and chanting this Devi Mahatmyam, they are going to get liberated. So eventually at the end of the 13th chapter, I'll give away the clue here. Both Sumedhas and the king Suratha will actually get a darshan of Devi, right? And then they will get what they want, right? So that is how this Devi Mahatmyam is actually structured. And like any other Purana, it is all about stories which are actually going to be there, right? So the important thing is, while this may all look like stories, and it is going to be all stories which are going to be there, right? And there are going to be some stutis which are actually embedded in there. Like I said, every single aksharam in this is a mantra, right? Not a mantra, it's something that is a Vedic sound which is there, because we literally, like I said, we do homam based on this, right? So, and you'll see when we come to Kilakam, one of the things we're going to do, Lord Shiva, Kilakam means like a hinge. So Lord Shiva is going to nail the Supreme Devi in each of the aksharam of Devi Mahatmyam. So even though you are reading it like a story, even though there are going to be battles that are actually happening where Devi is fighting Mahishasura, Devi is fighting Chandar, Munda, or Nishumba, all of that, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, when you are chanting it, it is already embedded with all of this information that you are actually praising the deity. So Shiva himself will say, don't worry about all the details of the battle that is actually coming there, right? That is just a higher level view. Anyway, so that is an important thing in terms of Devi Mahatmyam and how it is laid out. Then I spoke about the 13 chapters, like what we have, right? So the 13 chapters are going to come in the middle a little bit. The first one is called as the Prathama Charitram, which is the first Charitram. The second, third, and fourth is the middle portion of it, is called Madhyama Charitram. And 5 to 13 is the Uttara Charitram, which is the latter Charitram, right? And like we said, it is going to be Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, Mahasaraswati. Those are the reigning goddesses over each of these charitrams. So we'll start with the Bija mantra for each of them, which is invoking that deity, right, before we start the chapter. And I've also put a context here because each of these chapters is going to talk about, first one is going to be a battle with Madhu and Kaitaba. Then it's going to be with, Mahishasura. And each of these demons, when we call Shumbha, Nishumbha, then Madhu, Kaitaba, are all referring to one of the qualities that we all have inside of us, which we all battle. So essentially, when we go through this and we say Devi is battling against these demons, it is really us battling against our inner demons, because eventually by overcoming this, we will be able to get liberated and defeat all our inner demons, right? So that is what it is, but it is 13 chapters. And eventually, if you add all the stanzas, it will come to about 700 stanzas, right? So while those are the 13 chapters, the way it is laid out, when I say Parayana Vidhi, is how you do the chanting of Devi Mahatmyam. So there is an initial portion, which is the Purvangam, which consists of about 6 different things. So we have to learn all these 6 first and chant all of these first before you can learn the 13 chapters of Devi Mahatmyam. And then after you do the 13 chapters of Devi Mahatmyam, there's a Uttarangam, which is more things which are coming towards the end. So when we do a Parayanam, which takes about in a fast pace, because people in Chicago know this really well, so they chant it very fast. It takes about 2 hours, 15 minutes to about 2.5 hours. So when you do this 2.5 hours Parayanam, it is everything of 1, 2, and 3. If you do it slowly, it will take about 3.5 hours, right? So that's what we cover, is we cover all of this, and I will also teach you all of these in the proper sequence, so you kind of learn it as well, right? So I have just one more slide, and then I'll open it up to questions, right? So some of you might have attended Chandi Homam that we did. We do it pretty regularly in Chicago. We did one in Grace Lake, I think 2-3 weeks back. When we do a Chandi Homam, it refers to doing 10 Parayanams of Devi Mahatmyam. It could be 10 people doing it one time. That's okay. Total should be 10. And you do one Homam, right, that we do of Devi Mahatmyam. And there's a Navakshari Japam, which we'll see 100 of that is done. That's called as one Chandi Homam, which is what was done. Something called as a Shata Chandi, where you will do 10 Homams. Then there's a Sahasra Chandi, where you do like 1,000 Parayanams of Devi Mahatmyam, and you do 100 Homams, and you do about 1,000,000 Navakshari Japam. And then there is a Laksha Chandi, as you can see, it's 1,000 Homams and so on. Right? I put some images here for your reference. So in 2019 or 2020, Raghuvanna, who's from BPA, took a sankalpam that we want to do a Laksha Chandi, which means we should have performed 1,000 homams across the globe. You take a sankalpam. So before you do a homam, you say, I'm doing this homam towards this Laksha Chandi sankalpam, right? And we should have chanted 100,000 Devi Mahatmyam Parayanams overall across the globe, people who are taking the sankalpam towards this, and we should have chanted 10 million Navakshari Japams. The good thing, and I hate to say it's a good thing, was when COVID hit at that time. The positive thing that came out of that was we were all remote. So all of us in Chicago, we started initially as about 20 people in Chicago. That's all. And by the end of that year, we had about 50 people. And we used to do a Devi Mahatmyam Parayanam every day. So each of us did 300 Parayanams at the end of that year, literally. So that's why when you come to a Chicago Devi Mahatmyam Parayanam, people are like super experts. Everybody knows it by heart, right? Everybody here knows it by heart. So what we accomplished here across the globe was we completed 113,000 Devi Parayanams. Against 100,000, we did 113,000 Devi Mahatmyam Parayanams. And I forget, there's maybe 25 million Navakshari Japams against 10 million, right? And they completed 1,000 homams, which means 1,000 people did homams cumulative. So we did 2 homams in Chicago, where about 10 people joined each homam. So we did 20, or I forget how many we did, multiple of that we did, right? So that's why it's very important we get a lot of guys. I'm happy to see Harish and Vikram here. As always, there's always women who are willing to join, but very few men. And over the last 1 year, I told Mani Anna here, for those who know him, it's my commitment to at least add 10 men to Devi Mahatmyam Chandi Homams. And this time when we did it in Grace Lake, I was able to contribute or had 5 more men who I had thought who participated in homam, because we need men to do the homam, right? And we have enough ladies who are available for chanting. So anyway, so that's kind of the definition of how this thing goes. And I put another one which is happening in New Jersey, right? 29th of July, end of this month, which I'm going to be going to, which is the Sahasra Chandi. So they're doing a Maharudram, and then they're doing a Sahasra Chandi, which means they're going to do 100 homams, right? Which means if they have 10 people sitting around a Homagundam, we got to do 10 such times. We got to do the homam, right? So, and then we're going to have like 1,000 parayanams of it need to happen. So even if you assume 100 people are there to chant, you got to chant it 10 times, right? So that is the scale at which sometimes it happens, right? And so anyway, that's kind of the example of how it is done. What we did in Grace Lake was we just did one Chandi homam. We had like about 12 Ritviks around, and we did one homam. We did 11 homams, but it's like we only chanted it one time, right? Because it was a regular Chandi. Anyway, I'll pause here, see if you all have any questions on what we covered so far.
Are you going to share the slides, Rajesh?
Yeah, I'll send it over, yeah.
Okay. And my other question was, when you said Surata and Samadhi and all that, so what's the connection of Mahishasura Mardini Stotram to this?
We'll cover that when we come to chapter 3, which is chapter 1. We'll talk about Surata and Samadhi. I'll go into the detail of who they are. And chapter 2 is going to be getting rid of Mahishasura Mardini incarnation. And then the chapter 3 is a stuti, which goes Mahishasura Mardini Stotram is independent. That was done by somebody, I forget who composed it, towards this Mahishasura Mardini. right? So it is just a separate, that's not part of Devi Mahatmyam, but the killing of Mahishasura is in Devi Mahatmyam.
Thank you.
Okay. And then,
Rajesh,
yeah, go ahead.
the Mahakali is for the chapter 1, right, sir? And 2 to 4 is for Lakshmi.
Mahalakshmi, yes.
Mahalakshmi. And the 5 to 13 is for Saraswati. Sir.
Saraswati, yes.
Okay, just wanted to check. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
If you think of the Navaratri, when we do 9 nights, it also goes in the sequence. Of course, it's equally distributed, 3, 3, 3.
Correct.
It goes in Mahakali, Mahalakshmi, and Mahasaraswati at the end. That's why it comes, Saraswati Puja comes at the very end of it.
Rajesh, just a quick question. Before we sit in the class, is there any restrictions that we need to follow? I know because she has a lot of acharam, so we just want to make sure we follow the discipline.
Yeah, no, definitely. So preferably shower and come before the class, next class onwards. And of course, women, if you're out of the house, then, if you're in your periods, then don't come. No, don't attend the class. You can listen to the recordings later, right? Other than that, there's no other restriction. Of course, when you're doing the Parayanam and Chandi Homam, there are other restrictions, but not for learning. I think that's it. Yeah, so I think that's the main one.
So the Adhyayana, Anadhyayana kind of framework doesn't. So during certain periods of the month, there is Adhyayana annals and Anadhyayana annals, right? For lessons, it doesn't apply to this.
No, that is not for not for learning this. No, it's okay. So that doesn't apply to this. Okay. All right. Anything else? We'll spend about 10-15 minutes into the class today. So like the only difference, I pasted it into the chat in the WhatsApp group. So let me just share the thing back again. One quick thing. So while Siddha Kunchika Stotram is chanted first, when we are going to learn, we are going to start with Devi Kavacham first, intentionally for a reason, because the Siddha Kunchika Stotram has got a lot of Bija mantras, and I want to make sure you are all clear and thorough with your pronunciations, which we'll cover only at this point during the Navakshari. And then only I want to teach you Siddha Kunchika Stotram, right? So I intentionally teach it a little bit later to make sure you all are ready to be able to chant it. But when we chant it in our Parayana, we start with Siddha Kunchika Stotram first, right? So that's just a FYI. So you can literally print only what I have listed in this, because the PDF I sent has a lot of additional things like Ganesha Atharvashisham, Devi Atharvashisham, which we chant during the Parayanam, but I'm not going to teach all that. I'm just going to stick to the Devi Mahatmyam portion only. So anything which is shown here, you can print, but we are just going to only switches. We'll do Siddha Kunchika Stotram a little later. That's all. Otherwise, we're going to follow the same sequences here. Okay. Rudraji, I hope that answered your question. You had a question.
So really quick, Rajesh, one quick question. Maybe I'm jumping the gun here, and you said you would cover this later. Feel free to push me off the ledge here. So based on how you explained the context earlier, and especially the subtler parts of it, basically the charioteer, which is the self, right? The individual with the body and mind uses or utilizes single-minded focus and uses the intellect to shift that focus from material gains and monetary pursuits towards Devi, and that is the intent and the goal here. And then all of these Mahishasura Mardhanam and killing of the asuras, that's all then potentially about killing each of the vices, I guess, the ego. So is that the whole intent?
Kind of subtle difference in the way you positioned before, and we'll cover that more in chapter 1. Is there are two individual things. There's a person who is physically well endowed, no health issues, but who's not focusing on devotion, spirituality, and getting liberated. The focus is not there. You just you ought to be healthy. If you're sick all the time, you can't pray, right? So he's a very fit person, but he's not focusing on spirituality and leading to liberation. That's one character. The second character, who's a single-minded focus. He has that capability, but he's focusing it towards material things and not focusing it towards spirituality and getting liberated. So these two characters, separate characters, each of who have the required basic premise to be able to focus on doing things, are not spending their time on the right things. And then they have problems they get in their lives, which is what we're going to start chapter 1 with. Chapter 1 will tell what problem this guy has, what problem this Vaishya has. And they all come to the Sumedhas, means a person with a very high intellect, which is the guru in this case, and tells them, I'm having these problems in my life, right? I'm not able to let go things, but I have the basic framework. I have a good body. I have my ability to focus on things. I have all of that, and I'm still having problems. Why? So then the guru will guide them, saying you should be going towards this Devi, worshipping, getting your body and your mind towards this Devi, and then battle all your inner demons. And with that, you will get liberated. So you're generally right in the way you said it, but just subtle differences of the two different characters are coming. And we'll see what the challenges are and more about them only in chapter 1.
And I'm sure there is an external, like you just mentioned, the external framework of it, going to a guru, physically learning it and then applying all of this to the physical presence, versus I'm sure there is an internal process where it's all happening within us, right?
Within us. Yes. And the idea is simply being, even though you don't know how certain things are affecting you, right? What the Devi Mahatmyam says is, by doing this, by chanting these things with devotion, those things are going to get killed inside of you.
Yeah.
You don't need to know how. Just like how when you take a medicine, I don't know how any of the medicines work. I just know if I pop a pill in, it's going to help me cure something, right? So that's what this is saying. You just follow this religiously, and it will eradicate all of these problems, right? That's why each of the chapter has got a specific purpose, right, of getting rid of one of the internal challenges. Okay. All right. So we'll start with I have to jump on a call at 8 o'clock sharp. So we'll wrap it up in 15 minutes today. Since it's the first class, I'll open it up. Any two people who want to volunteer. Okay, Vikram, Harish. Okay. All right. So we'll start with Devi Kavacham, right? If you have that ready. So for those of you who are new, like I know Harish and Lakshmi and few others. So the way we'll do it is I will tell you how to chant it, and then each of you repeat it 2 times. And then the next class, even if you attend this class or not, you're expected to practice and come, everybody from the recording. And then, I will pick 2 students at random, who will then chant what we learned the previous class, and then we'll get into the new class. I know, Bhuvana, you joined a few minutes late. You want to quickly introduce yourself?
Oh, yeah. So my name is Bhuvana Chitra. I live in Naperville. I teach dance in Lemon Temple, Bharatanatyam, Sunday school. And I also teach math and reading to children. That's my background. Yeah. Yes.
Excellent.
Hi, all. Yeah.
All right. Vikram, Harish, you have the Devi Kavacham, right? Okay.
Rajesh, I have a question. Sorry. Yeah. So before Devi Kavacham, I have Nyasam and Siddha Kunja Kunjika
Stotram, we're going to do it later, like I said.
Okay.
That we're going to do it later. And before that, there is a Matruka Nyasam, which is a very elaborate Nyasam, which I will teach you all once we learn the basic Nyasams which are coming. So we will cover everything, but I'm just going to structure it in a way so you are just building on things as we are going, right? If I start with Matruka Nyasam, it'll get very confusing and hard for everyone. So
Rajesh, one question. So if we have to print, we can print all 283, or because Siddha Kunjika Stotram is starting from the PDF, I think 56 page number.
Yeah, for now,
we start from there.
Yeah, for now, just you can print from Siddha Kunjika. You can also print that Matruka Nyasam, which is there before also. You can print that also and keep. We'll do that only at the very end, after we've done all the 13 chapters, after we've done Uttarangam, everything. I'm going to teach you that, okay? Because that's a little bit more elaborate.
Thank you.
Okay, Rajesh, I have one more question.
Yeah.
I can't find Matruka Nyasam in the table of contents. Am I not looking at the right one? Do you know what page it is on?
Which one? You're following Malayalam, right?
No, I printed the English version from the ashramam. The PDF you sent.
Yeah, let me see. I have the English one open, but
so you had about 20 marked in your list, and I have all of them marked, but I don't see Matra.
I think it just says Nyasam right after Sankalpam. Page
Yes.
15. Yeah, that's the one.
Yes.
It's just called Nyasam in English. But
thank you.
In Sanskrit, it should say Matruka Nyasam.
Thank you.
Is there a Malayalam version? I didn't see that in the ones you sent.
If it is not there in the image I sent, I don't think it's there.
Okay.
But for those of you who know Ammu Chechi, Rati, I don't know if you followed up. I think Ammu Chechi hand wrote it in Malayalam during one of the class. So she or Priya Srikumar or Sindhuji might have it in Malayalam if anybody wants it. Ritiji, I don't know if you checked with them.
Priya said she will share with me.
Okay. If any of you wants Malayalam, you can just contact Riti, because I know during my class they hand wrote everything in Malayalam.
So I have the Sanskrit copy.
Okay. I know you follow Sanskrit, correct? Yeah.
Just one question. Did I miss the Dhyana Slokam or Dhyana Slokam? Yeah.
Yeah, I sent it in the group. I'll send it again later today.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So Vikram, we'll start. Okay. Asya Shri Chandi Kavachasya Brahma Rishihi. So when you say Rishi, you should touch the top of your head. Okay. Anushtup Chandaha, which means front of your, like bottom of your nose and mouth. Anushtup Chandaha. Chamunda Devata. So you have a heart. Asya Shri Chandi Kavachasya Brahma Rishihi Anushtup Chandaha Chamunda Devata.
Asya Shri Chandi Kavachasya Brahma Rishihi Anushtup Chandaha Chamunda Devata. Asya Shri Chandi Kavachasya Brahma Rishihi Anushtup Chandaha Chamunda Devata.
Yeah, Harish, you can go next. Harish, mute your Kel. Yeah.
So you want me to repeat the same thing?
Same thing you repeat twice, yeah.
Asya Sri Chandi Kavachasya Brahma Rishihi Anushtup Chandaha Chamunda Devata. Asya Sri Chandi Kavachasya Brahma Rishihi Anushtup Chandaha Chamunda Devata.
Anganya Sokta Mataro Bijam. So touch the top of your right shoulder, right side. Digbanda Devatas Tattvam, left side. Shri Jagadamba Prityarte Saptashati Pathangatvena Jape Viniyogaha. So for those who know, like essentially you do an avahanam like this, right? You hold your hand and say Viniyogaha. I'm beginning this. So this is one angam of Devi Mahatmyam is Devi Kavacham. And like a lot of you might know Skanda Shashti Kavacham, you might know Narayana Kavacham, different Kavacham, Ayyappa Kavacham. So Kavacham means a shield, right? So we saying before I start learning Devi Mahatmyam, it's very important that everything works out, right? You don't want to fall sick and be bedridden that you can't learn or you can't chant. So you do this Devi Kavacham, which is a shield which will protect you from all the different things. And we'll go through what all it is as we go through the chapter. So essentially it's a Kavacham. So this Kavacham, which is a part of Devi Mahatmyam, is what we're starting with. Anghanya Sokta Mataro Bijam Digbandha Devatastatvam Shri Jagadambha Prityarte Saptashati Pathangatvena Jape Viniyogaha.
Rajesh, what is the meaning of Anganya Sokta?
Anga is part. So it is just saying one part of my body. I don't know the exact meaning of it. But yeah, Anga is means a part of the body, right? Mataro Bijam is the Bija mantra of that particular Devi Kavacham.
Okay.
And the Digbandha is the one which is binding you from all directions as a protection for you to be able to chant it. So that's, I don't know the exact subtle meaning of it, but
Anganya Sokta Mataro Bhijam Digbandha Devatas Tattvam Shri Jagadamba Prityarthe Saptashati Pathangatvena Jape Viniyogaha
Pathangatvena
Anganya Sokta Mataro Bijam Digbandha Devatastatvam Shri Jagadamba Prityarthe Saptashati Pathangatve Jape Viniyoga
Kandamad again. Pathangatvena
Anganya Sokta Mataro Bijam Digbandha Devatastatvam Shri Jagadamba Prityarthe Saptashati Patangatvena Jape Viniyogaha
Anganya Soktamataro Bhijam Digbandha Devatas Tatvam Sri Jagadamba Prityarthe Saptashati Padhankatvena Jape Viniyogaha
Saptashati long. Sorry. Saptashati is a long E. Okay. Saptashati Patangatvena.
Anganya Soktamataro Bhijam Digbandha Devatastatvam Sri Jagadamba Prityarthe Saptasati Pathangatvena Jape Viniyogaha.
So for those who are new to my class, please don't feel offended or worried if I correct you 100 times. Totally fine. I will correct you 100 times till you get it right. So it's nothing against you or me or anything. So and especially in Devi Mahatmyam, a lot of places we'll see this Devi itself. For those who follow Sanskrit, there's a short E and a long E, and it just keeps switching, right? So I will, especially that I notice a lot of people, the Devi, a lot of people will make mistakes, and I'll keep correcting you. So whenever there is by default, people tend to go long. So whichever way you are going, right, when the Devi comes, which I'll point out, just make sure you're marking it so you're doing that correct, because the meaning changes. I'll tell you how the meaning changes.
Rajesh, I'm sorry I'm asking so many questions, but I want to make sure. Is it Saptasati or Saptashati? Like
Shati, Sha, 100.
100, okay. And also, what is the logic behind all the gestures? I mean, is there a...
Who is the main Rishi here, right? Who is the, before you say anything, here Brahma is the Rishi, because Brahma is the one who's going to say. In Vishnu Sahasranama, we say Veda Vyaso Maha Rishihi, right? So you say who is the Rishi who compiled it, what is the chandas in which it is, what is the meter in which it is being written, and then who's the God who is binding you with all of this. It's just a standard set of things which you say upfront. For a lot of these things, and it's going to come it comes to Sahasranamam, Lalita Sahasranamam, Vishnu Sahasranamam, all of that as well.
So my question was regarding the gestures, so
gesture.
if I'm talking something about the right shoulder and
Rishi
touching my left shoulder,
face. I don't know that. Yeah.
Okay.
One part that I do know, though, if it's any useful, is where you're doing the avahana. You basically are chanting these at the beginning of the mantra to purify yourself and hold your body as the utensil for, and you invoke. Again, I don't know the exact meaning of touching the right shoulder, left shoulder. I can try and find out, but as part of that process and these gestures, you are purifying your body to be the utensil in the framework through which you now have you have embodied the spirit of the mantra, and you're purifying your body to be the utensil that chants the mantra.
Yeah, and there's a separate nyasam which is going to come, which is all doing exact that, right? You touch every part of your body in that, in the nyasam. That's what the matruka nyasam, right? Which we said we'll cover later as well. So Om Namah.
But I have, sorry, one word, the Jagadamba, is it a Jagadamba, the long sound, or Jagadamba?
It's an akara, ends with the a, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Om Namaschandikaye Markandeyo Vacha Yad Guhyam Paramam Loke Sarva Rakshakaram Nrinam Yenna Khasya Chidakyatam Tanme Bruhi, short he, Bruhi Pitamaha. So this one, if you are not able to say the full line together, that's totally fine. You can say it like Yad Guhyam Paramam Loke Sarva Rakshakaram Nrinam. You can say it that way too, okay? So I'll try to say it fully. If you're able to, then it's okay. Om Namaschandikaye Markandeyo Vacha Yadguhyam Paramam Loke Sarvarakshakaram Nrinam Yenna Kasyachidakyatam Tanme Bruhi Pitamaha.
Om Namaschandikayai Markandeya Uvacha Yadguhyam Paramam Loke Sarvarakshakaram Nrinam Yanna Kasya Chidakyatam Tanme Bruhi Pitamaha. Om Namaschandikayai Markandeya Uvacha Yadguhyam Paramam Loke Sarvarakshakaram Nrinam Yanna Kasya Chidakyatam Tanme Bruhi Pitamaha.
Om Namaschandikayai Markandeyo Vacha Yadguhyam Paramam Loke Sarvarakshakaram Nrinam Yanna Kasya Chidakyatam Tanme Bruhi Pitamaha. Om Namaschandikayai Markandeyo Vacha Yadguhyam Paramam Loke Sarvarakshakaram Nrinam Yanna Kasya Chidakyatam Tanme Bruhi Pitamaha.
I'll say the meaning of these things in the next class since we don't have time today. Brahmo Vacha Asti Guhyatamam Vipra Sarva Bhutopa Karakam Devyastu Kavacham Punyam Tachrunushva Mahamune. Brahmovacha Asti Guhyatamam Vipra Sarva Bhutopakarakam Devyastu Kavacham Punyam Tachrunushva Mahamune.
Brahmovacha Asti Guhyatamam Vipra Sarva Bhutopakarakam Devyastu Kavacham Punyam Tachrunushva Mahamune. Tachrunushva Mahamune. Brahmovacha Asti Guhyatamam Vipra Sarva Bhutopakarakam Devyastu Kavacham Punyam Tachrunushva Mahamune.
Brahmovacha Asti Guhyatamam Vipra Sarva Bhutopakarakam Devyastu Kavacham Punyam Tachrunushva Mahamune. Brahmovacha Asti Guhyatamam Vipra Sarva Bhutopakarakam Devyastu Kavacham Punyam Tachrunushva Mahamune.
We'll stop here today because the next one, then it goes into a sequence. So this one, the good part of Devi Mahatmyam is it's all only one tune. It's all going to be the same chandas. Some places will have 4 lines, but it will be same tune that's going to be there. Okay. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Thank you, everyone. See you all next Thursday at 7 o'clock.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you.
Thank you.